What if one of the abilities of the Jogan, like, is you have the ability to look into a person's fate?
That
I
ability
think Momo.
specifically could, yeah, Momo. I was just about to say that ability could potentially come from Momoshiki. You can continue that, my guy. Miki.
I
You
think
already hit.
Momoshiki already has that ability. Like, I think
Mhm.
he can peer into other people's fates. Or actually, sorry, I gotta correct myself. It's he can see into other people's futures. So that's a little bit different, I guess, if you want to differentiate that. But I mean, it could happen. It'll have to be a lot different than what Momoshiki can do, because Momoshiki in the versus Momoshiki arc after they killed him, when Momoshiki was talking to Boruto,
Those
he
blue
like he
eyes will
told him
take
like
everything from you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And he said like I could see your fate or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but he can't see his own. So maybe
Mhm.
Boruto can see, or sorry, I can see your future, but I can't see my own. Something like that. In the Boruto manga, this wasn't said in the anime. If they do that with the Jogan, it would have to be a little bit. It would have to be a lot different from what Momoshiki could do, or else it would just be like a ripoff of what Momoshiki's Byakugan ability was. It could happen, but it'd have to be a lot more different. It'd have to be a lot more significant. Maybe it can tie in with what Momoshiki was saying with like those blue eyes will take everything away from you. Maybe there could be like a negative effect behind it, or possibly a consequence. It could possibly hurt Boris. So if he peered into other people's fates, something like that, if
Mhm.
that were to go down that route, or else that would be way too broken. If Boruto could see like Sarada's fate, or possibly Sasuke, if he potentially dies in the future and he sees that, he would go out of his way to stop it, or he would go out of his way to make sure it wouldn't happen. And if he has that ability, I think it would be really broken, but there would have to be some sort of downside to it.
Yeah, they're like
I
the
think
downside is like you can never stop fate though. Like so he can try all he
Yeah, yeah.
wants. Like he can try all he wants to try to stop that actually from happening. But at the end of the day, no matter what he does, it's going to happen.
When Boruto first killed Momoshiki, he says, "You've strongly inherited the powers of the Otsutsuki, but you can't use it to see into your own destiny yet." That alludes to the Jogan having future sight, right there, point blank, period. So that's number one.
Bam.
Yeah. So number two is like, okay, well, Momoshiki also separately from Boruto can peer into people's destinies, and the thing with that is people get hung up on like semantics with this. It's future sight, like destiny's fate, blah blah blah. It's future sight. So he can see into it. But interestingly enough, we learned in the last couple of chapters that Momoshiki knows the outcome of his warning, but he doesn't know how it happens.
How? Oh yeah, true.
So Boruto could be, I know how it happens, and then I'll combine that with your outcome, and then we'll get a full picture. That could be what happens as it pertains to them working together to kind of peer into the future. But in terms of look, whatever happens to Boruto via that warning, it's interesting to me. In pop culture, when people can look into the future, often it's described or explained that it's a possible future, not a definitive one, which is to suggest that there's like multiple. I don't even want to get to multiple timelines, but like just
Mm-hmm.
multiple possible futures. We'll keep it simple. So I think Momoshiki alluded it to it being this grandiose, large scale, like amazing, spectacular thing that happened. And this is right after Boruto's death was kind of teased by the writers, and he comes right back the very next chapter. So
Yes,
to me, it's
spectacular.
not death. Like death isn't, especially Boruto's death. It could be the death of other people, but I don't think Momoshiki would describe the death of his mother as this grand, spectacular thing, as he alluded to. I think it's going to be something that impacts um, Boruto in terms of the external, not anything internal for him. It's gonna be like I don't know, your reality gets rewritten, or your planet gets destroyed, or something
Otsutsuki
like that,
invasion.
or
Well,
exactly like some grand thing. I think that's pretty much how that goes.
when I say look into somebody's fate, like you can see how they die. You know, like if he saw how Sasuke dies, he's gonna do whatever he can to stop it. But at the end of the day, Sasuke still dies. No matter what he does, he can see the person's. You can see you. I can see and see your future. But no matter what I do, I can't stop you from dying. No matter how hard I try, I know the
That
outcome,
would,
Well,
but I can never
that would
stop it
be
from happening.
that would be such an ass ability, bro. I don't want to
yeah,
keep it.
yeah.
That would be so ass.
Well,
I
well.
can
The
see
thing,
it. I can't do shit about it. Why can't I see it?
But he
Yo,
don't
keep
know
it.
that
I
at
don't want
first
that
though.
shit.
Like if he
Yeah.
does, like all right, so like say the first person that he tries to, like all right, he looks into Sasuke's future. He knows Sasuke is going to die tomorrow. He's trying to stop it from happening, but
Hmm.
at the end of the day,
Yeah, I
Sasuke
understand what you're
still
saying
died. You know what I'm
totally.
saying? So like I know, like
I
I
understand.
get what you're saying. Like his ass
So
ability to keep it, but like That's something that can take away like your humanity in a way
So
because
I'm fine with that being the case. And I'll give you like a really popular pop culture example of just that happening for a character. Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars, he has future sight. He can see. He keeps constantly seeing the death of his mother, and he keeps trying to tell the Jedi Council, "Hey, I'm seeing this." And then they don't do anything about it because they're like no emotions, no connections, and his mother dies, and that sends him darker, farther down a darker path. And then he constantly sees his wife Padme die. He's like, I can't do anything about this, and it's the villain that actually gives him a solution. And that's why he kind of turns down the dark side and becomes Darth Vader eventually. So that's an in-canon, not in-canon, but a pop culture type of reference that I think will really track to your analogy there.
yeah, definitely.
Well, Momoshiki right now, we understand that him actually looking into Boruto's fate, it might just be very, very like blurry because his fate is connected to Boruto's fate as well. So, and we already know that Momoshiki can't see his own fate. So, hypothetically, if Momoshiki tried to see Sasuke's fate, that fate right there in itself might be a lot clearer to Momoshiki. Momoshiki might be able to recall or actually say how Sasuke dies or what Sasuke's gonna, what future problems Sasuke's gonna have to go through. He might even tell Sasuke what he's gonna eat for dinner tomorrow.
But wouldn't that be the same kind of issue? Like you would imagine whatever happens to Sasuke would be linked to Boruto. He's the main character.
I wouldn't say that specifically, mainly because I don't necessarily think it would directly affect Boruto. Like hypothetically, if Sasuke gets, let's say he gets hit by a bus or something like that. Of course, Boruto
Wow,
would be
that's the way
sad.
that Sasuke
A
gets taken
bus.
out. A
But
bus. Yo, the jokes in the series, bro, would be crazy.
I welcome it, bro.
Wait.
Neji got taken out by a tail beast, and they put sticks all in his back, and I cannot stop giving him control.
He got taken out by a stick.
Yeah. Imagine a bus.
God.
He's walking across the street, and a bus takes out Sasuke.
That's
Sasuke
the ultimate
Right.
disrespect.
I mean, look.
I mean, they are on door level, so.
Hey yo.
So I mean, look. Then, but now you're trying to like you're trying to parse out details based upon your like hypothesis, right? Like now you're saying, okay, well, it depends on like direct contact to Boruto as opposed to indirect contact to Boruto. So now we're getting to like the kind of specific details that we just don't have the data to kind of get into. So I mean,
Well-
look, we can craft any way to fit our narrative, but I just
Yeah,
don't think
absolutely.
there's enough there. Yeah.
Well, absolutely, this is all speculation, but the reason why I'd say that is because Momoshiki's fate, even though it's directly connected to Boruto, Momoshiki can still read Boruto's fate. So it's probably not as heavily as connected to like his own fate. Like let's say something happens to Boruto in the future, Momoshiki probably can't see that because that's actually Momoshiki. But if Boruto is kind of like impacted by like Sasuke's fate, it might not necessarily impact like Momoshiki's fate. So Momoshiki could potentially actually see that. So like again, if Sasuke gets hit by a bus or something and Boruto cries and Boruto's like extremely sad, Momoshiki can potentially like still see that because that right there doesn't actually impact Momoshiki's.
It makes sense, and it could also implement time travel, in a sense, like, because let's say in a certain scenario that Boruto can't change faith. Like, just say if he sees that Sasuke is gonna die here, this specific event is gonna happen tomorrow, or this specific event is gonna happen a week later. He can't change it in present time because you have something. It depends on which series you watch. I can't give you a specific series, but you have some instances where like your fate is set from a certain point in time. So you have to change it before that event happens because that event is what locks in your fate to die at that day or that event to happen. So let's say Boruto, sees Sasuke's fate after that event took place. Maybe it's like talking to Momoshiki. Momoshiki has experience in, these things, saying that, you can't change this fate. You have to like go back to the specific event that triggered this to happen. Then we could get like a time travel arc. Boruto goes back in time. Something happened, he goes back in time and stops that event from happening, which changes Sasuke's fate, in that, in the future timeline.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah,
Like,
Flashpoint.
yeah, true. That brings me back to the Flash. Like, if that last piece of chicken that I ate right now is the reason why I like died tomorrow, I got a blood clot. There you go. Fate sealed. Like,
Yo,
I hear
free
that.
game is chicken level. What are we talking about? Oh, that's some elite chicken.
yo, bro, you know they say like sometimes what you love is what kills you, bro. So hey, maybe.
It's like, yo, here lies free game. Like, oh man, he was a great guy. What happened to him? Yeah,
It was a Wingstop, bro.
Wait, what? He got folded by a piece of chicken. What?
Facts.
Bro, that would be
Was
a
it a
sad
drum
way to
or
go,
a
bro.
flat?
Sad way
That
to
would,
go,
yo,
man.
mellow question though would be, was it a drum or a flat? That would be his
Oh, my
question.
God.
That's
How did he go out? Was it a
Yo.
drum or a flat, bro? Like this.
I'm gonna be like, hey man,
Yeah.
I told the brother to get all flat. Didn't listen to me.
Facts. Yo,
That's what happened.
Mello wouldn't let this go if it was a drum that did it. I'm telling you.
He would not let your
Ranch.
boy rest in
Was
peace.
it the ranch? Was it blue cheese? Like, what's going on?
Facts.
Oh my gosh. Yo,
Yeah,
what
but
you-
that
go ahead.
I was about to say that lawsuit would be hellacious. Like that'd be crazy.
Yeah, my mom's be
Rick
living-
Ross
my
gotta
little-
come off some millions for you, bro.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
Moms will be living fat for real though, for real.
Mhm.
Hey, but
Yo,
go
real
ahead.
quick, chat. My chat, just spam for me real quick. Just the one time free game chicken level.
Yo, don't do it to me. Hey, if that's the way I gotta go out, hey, I'll go out that way. It's 2 ways that I'm willing to go out. I'm willing to go out like my boy Kevin Samuels just went out, and I'm willing to go out through some chicken. I'm with it.
I'm gonna grab this chicken and eat it.
Oh man.
Kevin Samuels
That's
or some
legendary.
Wingstop, bro. If I gotta
Well,
go, I
wait.
gotta go.
Free game. You could pick up on that analogy now, right? Because you've seen Death Note.
What analogy?
When Mello said, "I'm gonna pick up this chicken and I'm gonna eat it," like how my guy Light did.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't even pick
He
up
didn't
on it. I
even
didn't catch it.
laugh.
I did not catch it.
Okay.
He's been tying in Death Note this whole stream in the one
I did
time.
not catch it.
One,
Did not
yeah,
catch it.
one job.
One job, yeah, and I failed. Oh my goodness, I might get taken out by chicken tonight.